So Dublin 124, Cavan 12 points in the All-Ireland semi-finals. Dublin march on to the All-Ireland final for a sixth year running, and they will be contending the All-Ireland final on the 19th of December after a comfortable 15-point win over Cavan. And look, listen, in the end, I think everyone very much expected Dublin to win this game. I think everyone pretty much, I think this was the result that pretty much everyone expected. And look, listen, you do have to give Cavan a tremendous amount of praise for 2020 in general, winning the Ulster Championship. And, even at times in that game, they showed a lot of promise, a lot of quality. And although they were beaten by 15 points in the end, maybe that scoreline probably flattered the Dubs a little bit. I still think Dublin were outstanding, in the majority of the places on the field. But I do also think at the same time, Cavan certainly did have some joy in some certain areas of the pitch. And certainly, they can take away a lot of positives from this game and from 2020 in general. What's going on, everyone? It's Aaron here from GA Fan TV. I hope you're all keeping well. Of course, I'm back again with my reaction and my thoughts after Dublin have Renault 15-point winners over Cavan at Croke Park this evening. And yeah, look, listen, in the end, just like I said, a comfortable win in the end for Dublin. Certainly a lot of talking points to get through, and certainly a lot of things to talk about in this game. For me, I think Dublin always control the game. I think they always control the flow of the game. I think they were always in control. And even at half time, although it was only a 5-point game, I think at that point, you always felt that Dublin had another gear in them. You always felt like they could take it up another level. And in the end, in the second half, with players coming off the bench, like Costello, for example, Dublin just found an extra energy. Philly McMahon as well. They found an extra energy. They found an extra tempo. And Cavan, I certainly think in the closing stages, they were floating a lot of long balls in to the likes of Galligan, which, certainly, obviously Galligan, certainly a very, very top player. And, on any given day, he can cause a lot of problems. And certainly for Cavan, you could see what they were trying to do with those long balls. But of course, Dublin dealt with that very, very well. And you could see that Cavan were trying to win this game. They weren't trying to just stay in contention. They weren't kicking points over in the final 10 to 15 minutes. They were really trying to get goals, because obviously goals win you games. And they said there certainly was a big gap at that point. But look, listen, I suppose first of all, what we'll do is here, we'll have a look at the teams that took to the field. So we'll start off here with the Cavan side. So in goal, of course, is Raymond Galligan. You Jason McLaughlin, Padraig Faulkner and Killian Clark. Then you Jared Smith, Kieran Brady and Luke Fortune, Thomas Galligan and Killian Brady in midfield. You had Martin Riley, Gerald McKernan and Oisin Kiernan, of course, in the half-forward line. Conor Madden, Chris Conroy and James Smith, who was a late change there, came into the full-forward line. Of course, if we move on to the Dublin side here, so we've Stephen Cluxton in goal, Michael Fitzsimons, David Byrne and Owen Merchant, James McCarthy, John Small and Robbie McDade, Johnny Cooper and Brian Fenton, Niall Scully, Kieran Kilkenny and Sean Bugler, and then Paddy Small, Conor O'Callaghan and Dean Rock made up the full forward line. Just going through some of the scorers on the day then. So Brian Fenton hit 4 points. For me, man of the match, absolutely outstanding Brian Fenton. You just run out of words of praise for this man, in all honesty. Like he's by far, for me, the best footballer in the country, most well-rounded footballer, most athletic footballer. And, when you look through some of his stats as well in the championship, like he's never lost a championship game in the 5 years that he's played. He made his championship debut back in 2015. And, Dublin have won 5 in a row. And obviously, they'll probably win 6 in a row as well. And it's just incredible, really. And there's so much that, he can do. And there's not much he can't do. You know what I mean? Like, he's a very, very top quality player. 4 points on the day. Controlled the tempo of the game at times. When Cavan were sitting back and they were getting very, very deep, Dublin just needed to be patient on the ball, knock it side to side, wait for the openings, wait for the spaces, and Brian Fenton was just perfect at that. He made forward runs at times as well, breaking beyond the lines and got a couple of points out of it as well. He was fantastic. Robbie McDade, I think 1-1 in total is what I have here. Outstanding as well. He doesn't offer that same offensive output as Jack McCaffrey. I've said that on a number of occasions, but he is just starting to grow more and more into this Dublin side now, and he is starting to just contribute a lot more in games. I think he's got a lot better as the championship's gone on. Obviously, he wouldn't be very familiar to playing with this team, playing in this team, and I think now he's getting used to the players around him a lot more, and I think he's starting to contribute a lot more as well. Conor O'Callaghan with 3 points, outstanding. as well. Certainly, I think Cavan actually done a great job on him. In fairness, defensively, I think Conor Callaghan certainly normally kind of has higher points tally. So I think at the same time, the Cavan defence can be very happy with how they done there. Dean Rock, hit 5 points on in the game, and to be fair, probably didn't have his best game. Missed a couple of frees, missed a couple of chances in the first half. That was kind of very un-Dean Rock like. Paddy Small as well, getting a couple of points was brilliant. Of course, then looking at the Cavan team and some of the scores they had on the day. So Martin Riley with 3 points, he was fantastic. Thomas Galligan, Kieran Brady, just a range of different scores. Connor Madden on the score sheet as well, of course. And obviously one kind of big thing about this Cavan side is they don't have a marquee forward. They don't have like what Conor McManus might be to Monaghan or Conor Callaghan is to Dublin. I mean, Dublin, to be fair, kind of have a full marquee forward. They even have marquee forwards on the bench. Cavan, don't have that, so that they really have to work hard for points. They really have to work as a team, and I think that's what's got them so far, because everyone is very much singing off the same hymn sheet. And to be fair, Gerald McKiernan was probably, for me, their best player on the day. I thought he was very bright at times. He did cause Dublin a couple of problems. He's the one player that you look at in this Cavan team, very physical, very strong player. Reminds me a lot of Michael Murphy in essence. Obviously, Michael Murphy is one of the best players in the country, and I say Michael Murphy's the better player in my opinion. But Gerald McKiernan, very similar in that kind of essence. He doesn't roam around like Michael Murphy, but he has the same kind of physical build. And when he's on the ball, he's a very good ball carrier as well, I think. And I think that's very impressive indeed from a Cavan point of view. Getting through some of the talking points in the game, and there certainly was a few contentious issues. I think the referee for me had a bit of a poor game in my opinion. I didn't see the Thomas Galligan red at the end. I don't really know what that was for. This is obviously, I'm recording this straight after the game. Apparently it was Descent that got a second yellow. I didn't see the first one, so that would be interesting to see. Johnny Cooper, I mean, 100% that was a black card. I mean, how he managed to escape that. He brought down Martin Riley on the 30th minute. 100% a black card. I don't know how he managed to get away with that, in all honesty. If it's not a black, it's at least a yellow. And the black card was brought in for those rules. Now, you could say the ball was overhit, so Martin Riley wasn't going to get on the end of it, so maybe that's why he didn't give a yellow or he didn't give a black card, but it's still a cynical foul at the end of the day. So I did find that a little bit surprising, and the referee for me did make a couple of questionable decisions. There was a situation as well where one of the Cavan players should have got a black card as well for tripping Kieran Kilkenny. I can't remember exactly who that was, but certainly that could have been a black card as well. And yeah, just kind of running through, the game in general. I thought Cavan started very, very well. Martin Riley scoring that early point. But I think what let them down was just the unforced errors, the misplaced passes, the turnovers in the middle of the park. If you're going to beat Dublin or you're going to give them a great game, for me, certainly, you just can't make mistakes, and you can't make mistakes in positions where you shouldn't make mistakes. And, certainly in the opening 15 to 20 minutes, whether it was nerves of playing in Croke Park for the first time, playing against the Dubs, or whether maybe, Dublin, is such a daunting proposition playing Dublin, maybe that just kind of weighed over them a bit in the opening 15 to 20 minutes. To be fair, as the game went on, they did get that out of their system, but certainly there was a couple of, poor turnovers where maybe if they had got a couple more points, and maybe if it was a 2 to 3 point game going into the second half, it might have made things a little more interesting late on. Killian Brady went off injured, and I think that was a huge miss for Cavan as well. He's one of their top players without a doubt. And Dublin did go 4 without reply just before the first water break. And you did worry for Cavan a little bit at that stage, because it was, Dublin were 7 to 3 before Cavan made it 7 to 4 just before the water break. And you did worry a little bit just then for Cavan that if Dublin pull away too soon, this could be a bit like the Meath game a little bit. But you have to give Cavan a lot of praise. They did cause Dublin a lot of problems at times, and as I said before, Gerald McKiernan was fantastic. In a number of ways. Thought Martin Riley was very bright as well. Kicked a couple of nice points. But certainly, as I said before, Johnny Cooper bringing down Martin Riley definitely, for me, should have been a black card, and it was surprising to see that he didn't get one. And that definitely was surprising indeed. Obviously, Raymond Galligan, very positive performance from him for Cavan as well in goal. Just very precise with his kickouts. He's a very smart footballer in my opinion. He's able to see the players, spot the short kickouts, and that was a good strategy by Cavan, because certainly normally the majority of teams struggle against Dublin because they press up so high on the kickouts. And to be fair, I actually think Galligan done a great job there. And probably in general for Cavan, maybe just some slight poor decision making at times. Connor Smith's miss in the 34th minute was a little disappointing. And to be fair, getting back to talking about Galligan, he did make that save from Niall Scully as well on the 30th minute. So Galligan, certainly when the All-Star team of the year comes out, I presume it probably will go to Cluxton, especially if Dublin do win the All-Ireland, because Cluxton hasn't conceded a goal, and he's literally done nothing wrong at all. He had one or two kickouts that he got wrong in the first half, I think, but generally he's been fantastic. He even had that one situation where it was a long ball floated in and he had to fist it away, and he just done it so comfortably ahead of Galligan. So very, very positive indeed. 12-7 at half time to Dublin, and yeah, in the second half certainly Dublin just picked up the tempo, picked up the pace. Cavan were certainly going long more and more often. As I said before, I know a lot of people were praising Cavan at halftime, saying, they've done great, they're still in the game. But Cavan went into that game to win it. And I think in the final, 20 to 30 minutes, they probably could have scored a couple more points. But at the same time, they were going for goals because they're trying to win the game. So that's why I think the scoreline maybe flattered a little bit. Although it was 15 points, I do think it was a little closer in essence in that kind of perspective. And Cavan's tackling probably late on was a little more loose as well. They did have the one stage though, kind of going in, between the 55th and 61st minute, where they hit 3 points without reply, and that was quite impressive. And you thought, Cavan maybe now, just like they did against Down, just like they did against Monaghan and Donegal, are they picking up the tempo late on? Could Dublin maybe, are Dublin going to switch off a bit here? But in the end, you have that Robbie McDade goal. They swarm on the kick out, turn the ball over, and they just move it so quickly. And I think that's one of the things that's impressed me the most about since Desi Farrell's coming in, is we move the ball a lot quicker at times when we turn it over. It's like there's that split decision moment where, literally in a couple of seconds we go from not having the ball to the ball in the back of the net. Kind of against Meath as well, where the long kick out from Cluxton, the catch by Callaghan, and then moving it on to Dean Rock, who scored. And this was kind of similar in that kind of essence as well. Dean Rock playing it onto Robbie McDade, and he palmed the ball into the back of the net. Cavan probably could have had a penalty late on. There was some talk about that in commentary. For me, I don't think it was. You could say that Philly McMahon pulled Thomas Galligan a little bit there. I don't think there was enough in it for me for a penalty. I think Galligan went down a little easier, in my opinion. Hard to know at the same time, but for me, I wouldn't have given a penalty. Oisin Kiernan had a heavy challenge on McCarthy as well. Didn't even get a yellow, which was baffling. I think the referee really just had a very poor game today, in my opinion. But yeah, in the end, Dublin getting the victory. They march on to the final. But look, listen, you have to give Cavan a tremendous amount of praise for what they've done in 2020 and winning the Ulster title. And certainly 2020 will live long in the memory for Cavan fans, without doubt. They'll be talking about this for years and years to come. And look, listen, hopefully for their sake, and hopefully for everyone's sake, really, they can celebrate this at some point next year before the championship kicks off. Or at some point, because they deserve, when you win an Ulster title like that, you deserve to celebrate. And same for Tipperary as well. Hopefully they'll be able to celebrate their Munster title success at some point as well. But look, listen, in the end, Dublin march on. They are looking unstoppable at the moment, and as a Dublin fan myself, it's it's quite crazy seeing how good this Dublin side are at times. It's mad. It's just absolutely mad, but it's brilliant at the same time. But yeah, look, listen, lads, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Do stay tuned for more videos coming out. The Mayo and Tipperary match reaction, of course, will be out tomorrow after that game. And will it be a Dublin Mayo final? We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, my name is Aaron. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.